When you hear the name Frankenstein, you probably picture the monster, right? Green skin, bolts in the neck, the whole deal. But Mary Shelley's original novel, well, that's a much darker, more complicated story. It's a tale of ambition, abandonment, and revenge that makes you ask a really tough question. So let's just get right to it. Who's the villain here? Is it the creature, literally stitched together from parts of corpses? Or is it the brilliant scientist who brought him to life, and then, in that very same moment, just abandoned him in absolute horror? To figure that out, we really have to dissect this story, piece by piece. All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to trace this whole tragic journey in 5 parts. We'll start with the scientist's ambition, then the creature's awakening, that massive turning point with the vow of vengeance, the awful curse that follows, and finally, the race to the end. It's quite a ride. So first up, a scientist's ambition. And you'd think this story starts with the monster, but it doesn't. It starts with his maker, a brilliant young student whose genius was probably his biggest problem. Meet Victor Frankenstein. Now, this guy isn't evil, not in the classic sense. He's just obsessed. He is completely consumed by this one single goal: to crack the code of life itself. He's digging into everything, from old-school alchemy to the newest science, all to find that one hidden spark. And I mean, just listen to that. This quote tells you everything you need to know about his ego. He doesn't just want to find things out. Oh no, he wants to create. He literally wants to play God. For Victor, this isn't really about science anymore. It's a quest for personal glory. And that puts him on a very, very dangerous path. So for 2 solid years, he basically goes off the grid. He's scavenging for parts in graveyards and slaughterhouses. Yeah, you get the picture. He completely ghosts his family, his friends, lets his own health just fall apart, all for this one project. And then, one stormy night in his workshop, it happens. It's alive. But here's the twist. Is he celebrating? Is he popping champagne? No way. He is terrified. See, he carefully chose all the creature's features to be beautiful, but the final product, it was a catastrophe. In the very instant of his greatest success, he's just filled with horror and disgust. So what does he do? He runs. He just bolts, abandoning his creation, his newborn, really, to a world it doesn't understand. All right, so now let's flip the script. We're going to see this whole thing from the creature's perspective. His life doesn't start with a loving parent. It starts in total, absolute confusion. So the creature wakes up basically like a newborn baby. Everything is a first. The feeling of hunger, of being cold, the discovery of a warm fire. He's not born a monster. He's a complete blank slate, and he's actually filled with this really gentle curiosity about the world around him. But every single time he tries to interact with people, they just scream and attack him. I mean, get this. At one point, he saves a little girl from drowning in a river. And how does her father thank him? He shoots him. Can you imagine? That becomes his education about humanity. That because of the way he looks, he reserves nothing but hatred. For months, he finds this little cottage and secretly watches a family, the DeLaceys. And by watching them, he learns everything: how to speak, read, and even what affection feels like. He finally works up the courage to talk to the old man of the family who's blind, and it works. The old man is kind to him, but then the rest of the family comes home, they see him, and they brutally beat him and drive him away. His one chance at connection, completely shattered. And that's the moment that just breaks him. He's completely alone. He has no name, no history. There is literally no one else like him on the entire planet. And that one simple question, what am I? It just haunts him, and it's what pushes him down a new, much darker path. So this is it. This is the turning point. This is where all that hope completely dies and vengeance is born. The creature, who's been twisted by all this loneliness and suffering, basically decides, if I can't inspire love, I will inspire fear. So the creature finds Victor and tells him his whole tragic story. He makes a demand. Create a female companion for me, one as hideous as I am, and we will vanish into the wilds of South America, and you will never hear from us again. Victor, terrified, agrees. But then, halfway through building her, he panics. He starts imagining a race of devils, and he just destroys the second creature. And that betrayal, that is the absolute final straw. With his only hope for a companion literally torn to pieces, the creature delivers this promise, and man, is it chilling. It's not some vague threat. It is a calculated psychological vow to destroy Victor's happiness at its most personal, most significant moment. The war has officially begun. And now, the consequences of Victor's actions start to come home to roost. The creature begins to systematically dismantle Victor's entire world, one loved one at a time. A truly horrifying dynamic starts to play out. On one hand, you have Victor, who's just paralyzed by guilt. He knows who the killer is, but he can't tell anyone without revealing his own monstrous secret. So his silence makes him complicit. And on the other hand, you have the creature, acting with this cold, chilling purpose, just turning Victor's life into a living hell. And the cost, it is just staggering. The family servant Justine gets framed for the first murder and is executed. Victor's best friend Henry is strangled. And then, true to his word, the creature murders Victor's bride, Elizabeth, on their wedding night. The grief from all of this literally kills Victor's father. Victor's world is just completely annihilated. So, with absolutely nothing left to lose, their conflict becomes this final, desperate chase to the most desolate ends of the earth. Now, Victor is the one consumed by a thirst for revenge. He chases his creation across Europe and all the way up into the frozen Arctic. The roles are now completely reversed. The creator is hunting the monster. And the monster? Well, he's actually leaving clues to keep the chase going, wanting his creator to suffer for as long as possible. The chase absolutely destroys Victor. He's found near death by an Arctic exploration ship. But even as he's dying, he shows zero remorse for what started it all, for abandoning his creation. His only regret is that he didn't manage to kill him, and he even tries to get the ship's captain to continue his hateful mission for him. After Victor dies, the creature appears in the ship's cabin. He stands over his creator's body and mourns, confessing the profound agony that his campaign of revenge caused him. And this quote, it just says it all. He was designed for love, but was shaped by misery into a vessel of hate, and it just destroyed him from the inside out. With Victor gone, his entire purpose, that twisted, hateful connection to his creator, is gone too. So mourning the man he both hated and somehow loved, the creature leaps away onto the ice, vanishing into the darkness, promising to finally end his own life and the cycle of suffering that began all that time ago. Which, of course, brings us all the way back to our original question. So, who was the real monster? Was it the creature whose hands actually committed the murders, or was it Victor Frankenstein, the creator whose arrogance and neglect really unleashed all of that suffering on the world? You know, maybe the real monster isn't a person at all, but the loneliness and hatred that ended up consuming them both.